What up, boys, and welcome to the channel. I'm typically known for making hunter videos, so I would say I'm a hunter main. I barely dabble with Warlock, but my god, I've got to say, Warlock felt very refreshing to play, and this build is quite cracked. Now, being a hunter main, there is one super bad negative about the Warlock, and his jump absolutely sucks. I don't care what you say, the Warlock jump is trash. Anyway, today we're going to show you this pretty insane Warlock build, so let's get right into it. First thing you're going to want is this goofy looking helmet, the Dawn Chorus. This bad boy has Rites of Ember. Your Daybreak projectiles deal more damage and scorch targets on impact. Your Scorch is improved and you gain a small amount of melee energy when your Scorch damages a target. Next thing you're going to want, the Dragon's Breath. This is pretty easy to get. Just either get it from the free version of the paid track on number 1, or you can acquire from the free track on level 35. This is a big boy rocket launcher. Rockets embed themselves in struck target and periodically eject incendiary fuel that inflicts scorch. The longer this weapon goes without firing, the more fuel the next rocket contains. And if you stand near this rocket when it's firing off its scorch, it will kill you, so be careful for that. The other perk is igniting nearby targets partially replenish fuel. This weapon refills itself from reserves upon gaining maximum fuel. So if you stick like a boss or champion with this thing, it's just going to keep scorching it until it ignites, and you can also throw grenades and melees at it, and you can just stack a bunch of different ignites on a target and kill it pretty quickly. And on top of that, it's reloading itself. I don't have the catalyst yet, but I'm working on it. For your other weapons, you should use some type of solar weapon. I'm using a solar hand cannon because it's pretty powerful right now. I have explosive payload and firefly. I could get the incandescent. Let me know down in the comments below what's better on this, the incandescent or the firefly, but I'm going with firefly because A, it blows the target up with solar damage, but also we can give this weapon incandescent through the artifact, which we'll talk about later. In our primary slot, we're using a special weapon. You can use a shotgun, a fusion rifle, even a sniper if you need, but I'm going with a Riptide with chill clip. I don't have auto loading yet. I'm still working on that, but I have field prep, so that's all right. You could also use like a strand fusion rifle, but yeah, chill clip's always good because it can deal with a lot of different situations for champions. Now, of course, for our subclass, we're using Solar, the Dawn Blade. For our super, we're using Daybreak. Full of Radiance is always meta, but not today, folks. Now, in our abilities, it's important you run Healing Rift because when we scorch targets, which will be pretty much from everything, we're going to get a lot of energy for this rift, and this is our main way of healing. For our jump, use whatever you want because I have no idea about these jumps. I just kind of wing it. For the melee, I'm still kind of figuring out what's better, the snap or the celestial fire. Snap has a lower cooldown, but celestial fire feels stronger, so I'm using that. And I always love the fusion grenade, especially using the aspect that makes it like pop twice, scorches targets. It can trigger ignitions pretty easily with all your other stuff, so yeah, probably use any grenade though. Speaking of our aspects, we got Icarus Dash, so I can dodge in midair. And while I'm airborne, rapidly defeating targets with your super or weapons cure you. So anytime we're up in that air, we get some kills. We're going to be up in the air with our super pretty much all the time, so we'll just constantly be healing. So that's nice. Touch of Flame, which is for our grenade. It's going to allow our fusion grenade to explode twice. If you're having a problem with survivability, you can always run the healing grenade. All right, the fragments. Dun dun. Ember of Char. Your solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. Like I said, we're igniting a lot of things. Even if you ignite a boss and don't kill it, it's gonna spread scorch to affected targets, so that is always nice. Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks grant you and nearby allies radiant. And Radiant's important. We'll be able to get it in another method, but this just makes it super easy to get. So we're pretty much always having Radiant active, and Radiant's gonna give our weapon a little boost, you know what I'm saying? Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. Like I said, this is for our healing rift, so pretty much anytime we scorch target, which is pretty much always, we're going to be gaining a lot of healing rift energy and always be able to put it down, which is why I don't really use the healing grenade because you just always have your rift available. And last but not least, Ember of Ashes. You apply more scorch stacks to targets. I'm sure you can swap out some of these for other ones, but yeah, this is what I'm running and it works out pretty well. The main stats I like to run is max out my resilience and try to max out my discipline, and after that And you just do whatever you want. For this build, we're trying to use our super a lot, so you could put a lot of points into intellect as well. I do not have the best armor for Warlock, so my stats are kind of meh. This is what I got to work with because I don't use them very often, but now I'm going to try to be using them more, so I'm going to be getting more armor for him, hopefully. It's actually a girl, for her. Now into the beautiful artifact. Probably be running unstoppable hand cannon if you are running a hand cannon. There's a few things you can change and swap in the artifact, and I don't have the last column unlocked, which has some very powerful perks, which we will talk about. The first main perk you're going to want is Kindling Trigger. Radiant causes solar weapons to apply scorch to unscorched combatants. This is why I'm running the Firefly perk on my hand cannon and not incandescent, because we can just scorch targets with this. So bing bang bong. I always like running the combined mods. So for solar, and since I'm using a stasis weapon, I can just have the double mod. If I'm not running that, then you can put it in From Whence You Came, which increases ability damage to Taken and Scorn, mainly for the new dungeon, but there's obviously other activities you can use this for. If you're not going against any Taken and Scorn, then you could do Blast Radius for your rocket launcher, or yeah, just Flame, Fiber, and Freeze. Bam. In that third column, we want Flint Striker. Rapid Solar Weapon Precision Hits and Rapid Solar Weapon Final Blows grant Radiant. So this is our other way of getting Radiant. So we have our melee charge will give us Radiant, which will allow our weapon to scorch targets, but also our weapon, since it's a solar weapon and it explodes enemies when it kills it with Firefly, you can proc Radiant pretty easily, which will just keep you in that cycle of being Radiant the whole time, as well as scorching targets. Now there's a couple other ones in the third column. Torch is really good. While Radiant, deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand and Stasis debuff. So since we're using a chill clip fusion rifle, you bam, you slow them, that's a debuff. Bam, you freeze them, that's a debuff. And you're going to be Radiant probably, maybe. You can just throw your melee at it, get Radiant, and then you're going to do increased damage to those targets. Also, Heart of the Flame, casting your solar super grants nearby allies Radiant and increases the damage of your super for each nearby ally. So if you're running with allies, you can be using this. It's pretty nice, especially for that super. It's going to decimate everything. But if you're solo, then obviously you're not going to want to run this. So just go Torch. In that fourth column, the main thing we're looking at is Revitalizing Blast. Causing damage with solar ability weakens champions and bosses for a short duration. So this is going to give us like a 15% debuff on top of our Radiant. So we're just doing a lot of extra damage just for causing damage with a grenade or a melee on champions or bosses. Unraveling Orbs. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Strand Weapon Unraveling Round. So if you're using a Strand Fusion Rifle, maybe go this one. If you're going against champions, Overload specifically, we have a rocket launcher, so you can use Overload rocket launcher. But out of all of these, you definitely want Revitalizing Blast and probably Dragon's Bite. Defeating a combatant's shield with Strand or Stasis weapon has a chance to suspend or freeze that combatant. So if they have a shield, you break it with your fusion rifle, you'll just freeze it, but it has chill clips, so you're kind of already freezing it, so it's not really necessary. The last column, Super OP, which I have not unlocked yet, but sounds really OP, I guess you could say. The main thing you're looking for is Rays of Precision. While Radiant, Solar Precision Final Blows cause combatants to ignite. Ignitions do a lot of damage. We're already getting a lot of ignitions, but this is just going to give us more ignitions, and things are just going to go crazy when everything's just blowing up left and right. If you're running Solar, you want Solar Operative. While you're the only member of your fire team, you deal increased damage to all combatants. This perk isn't super necessary because our rocket launcher reloads itself, so you kind of shoot it, put it away, it'll reload itself. Not every time, because sometimes you won't get that reload if you're not using it properly. But this could be nice for other rocket launchers maybe. Another perk to look out for is Hail the Storm. Shattering encased targets and stasis crystals deal increased damage. Shattering stasis crystals release shards of ice that damage and slow targets. So this will kind of work with like if you have the stasis fusion rifle, but otherwise probably not a big deal. Just make sure you have Rays of Precision and you will be good to go. Let's take a quick look into my armor mods, shall we? In my helmet, I'm running Heavy Ammo Finder. It's always nice to have extra heavy ammo. Harmonic Siphon. You could use the dual siphon thing, but this is gonna be a one cost since we're on a solar subclass. There's just a free solar perk that's gonna give us Orbs of Power quite frequently. And then Ashes to Assets. Gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. In our arms, we got Firepower to generate Orbs of Power from grenade funnel blows. and grenade kickstart just to give us grenade energy back when we throw a grenade. This one isn't necessary. You can swap it out for something else. In your chest piece, it's kind of up to you. I always have concussive dampener for area of effect damage, but if you're dealing with combatants from longer range, sniper damage resist, closer range, melee damage resist. In your legs, solar weapon surge is super nice because it's going to allow our hand cannon and our rocket launcher to deal increased damage. And in your class item, bomber reduces your grenade cooldown when using your class ability. We'll be able to put our rift down quite often because we're scorching targets so much. So just putting our rift down is going to give us a grenade energy. Also putting our rift down is going to collect all the nearby orbs of power. So that'll just be an easy way to collect nearby orbs of power. And outreach, reduce melee cooldown when using your class ability. So simply by using our class ability, we're getting a lot of different benefits. You should always be kind of spamming that whenever it's up. Now, I'm not a Warlock main, so I don't know all the ins and outs, you know, but for the most part, as you can see, me not being a Warlock main, this build is super easy and super fun. So equip it for yourself, try it out. I'll have a dim link down in the description below so you can easily look at that. Now, does this mean I'm going to be a Warlock main now? Probably not. The jumps still suck. Next time, I'll try an OP Titan class and let y'all know how that is. If you enjoyed the content, then make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. Peace.